right, I hope everybody is doing great. We are back with one more video before I go to New York for the week. Pardon the mess behind me if you can see it. I am packing up and all that good stuff. I just wanted to go over my 2025 reading, maybe even writing plans, because I have some big projects kind of in the works. I am, of course, going to be doing hopefully weekly videos on what I'm reading at the time, on what I'm reading for school, outside of school, just personal stuff. Hopefully some writing videos pretty often, just going over stuff I'm writing for class or whatever the case may be. But I don't want there to be like a 45-minute video that jumps up on you guys and you're like, well, it's that too long, I'm not going to watch it, because those are the ones that I think I'm going to be the most proud of. So I just want to talk a little bit about them. The first thing I want to talk about is an interview I'm doing with my friend and former teacher, Rickey Fayne, who is publishing his novel, The Devil Three Times, through Little Brown, which is a huge deal. I'm so happy for him. It comes out in May of this year, so I don't know when the actual video will come out, but we are recording that later this month. I can't wait to talk with him about that. Rickey is such a great person. He is a huge part of the reason I even have this channel, a huge part of the reason I read so much and love to read so much, a huge part of the reason I continue to push forward with my writing. He was incredibly encouraging, even in a time where what I was submitting was god-awful, even to the point where I think I saw him earlier this year at the Wisconsin Book Festival, and he asked me how this specific story was going with this specific character, and I'm like, it probably doesn't register with the teachers, but when somebody remembers and cares about your work and actually invests time into it, which it's very easy not to, especially when he's got something like this going on, a novel that's coming out, debut novel with Little Brown, it just means the world. So, and forget all that. I can talk about what Rickey has meant to my, reading and writing habits and even what I want to do with the rest of my life. But he is a fantastic writer. I remember reading his story, Spare the Rod, which was published in American Short Fiction, I believe. I'm going to link all of his free stories below, as well as his website, and I would highly recommend you guys check those out. 3 of them are all in the book, so like Spare the Rod I just reread. But the first time I read that, I was blown away. I mean, I know everybody I'm learning from is a good writer, but it really blew me away. And what he's doing here is one of the... I promise, I just had this talk with my dad. He was like, how biased are you, whatever. I promise this is a really good book. I mean, it is so gutsy, the amount of characters. It follows 8 generations of a specific family. I will talk more about the book when I am with him, and maybe even in a video before then. But I could not recommend this more. It's so well put together. I can tell how much work he put into it, and I honestly think it's going to be really well received. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to try to it'll be an interview, but hopefully a formal discussion, because, anytime I get to talk with Rickey, it's always an absolute blast. And he's just a fantastic writer. So I can't wait to do that. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I certainly will. I've read probably 400 pages in the last 3 or 4 days for that. And I hope to read it again after I get back from New York before I do the interview. But yes, and also along with that, I'm reading Their Eyes Were Watching God, which I just have a few pages left of. This is a really, really good book. This was written, I think he says, after Zora. So after Zora Neale Hurston, this book is in conversation with 3 novels that I am going to work to read. These are 2 that I'm going to read while I'm in New York. Mules and Men by Zora Neale Hurston, not actually a novel, and Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison, one of my favorite writers. And so these 3 will get read very soon. And along with The Devil Three Times by Rickey Fayne, and will all be incorporated into that. Probably pretty long discussion, but I am so excited for that. I really can't wait. Another video that I've already filmed that is coming out real soon is a discussion with a really, really good friend of mine. His name is Dyson Smith. We went to high school together, played basketball together, started writing together. He's a fantastic poet. I had him read some of his own stuff and talk about his writing process, which I think is really, really cool. That's toward the end of the video, but we also talk about modern poetry by Diane Seuss, one of his favorite poets. I thought this book was great. I'm really glad he turned me on to her, as well as some fiction Jesus' Son by Dennis Johnson, which is in the pile of books that my camera is resting atop. So I can't pull it out, but some really cool discussions there. It is a long video. I'm trying to edit it down. It is over an hour, but it will be around 50 minutes, something like that, hopefully. I never do like takes, right? This is the first take I'm taking this video. I edit little sections and whatnot, but the guest is in charge, and he wanted to do a couple different takes, so we did. And yeah, that'll be fun to see how it goes together. Obviously, it's always fun for me to watch back. I got a smile on my face while I'm editing it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Again, my main goal with all of this is just building a community, not just with helping myself be a part of a community with other writers, like friends and professors and other writers and readers and all that, but also just having that here on this channel, having a place where people can all I do want everything to be positive, but I want it to be engaging, and I don't know, it sounds a little ridiculous in my head, but as more and more people have watched these videos I started for, I don't even really know why, I've been amazed and grateful, and I want to use this place for the best purposes possible, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, I hope to have some more guests on. The only ones I can promise are Dyson and Rickey, but I do also have a professor who's a highly esteemed poet and a really great dude, and hopefully some other friends will join me as well. But yeah, so that's another thing. The big project I am hopefully working on this year, I really don't want to jinx myself, I put it in this video before I apply to do it, is a research project. It is in the very early stages. I am currently only reading Never a Lovely So Real, which is the biography by Colin Asher of Nelson Algren, who was a writer, lived in Chicago, where I live, for pretty much his whole life. And this is a really fascinating biography. I'm maybe a quarter through it. But I'm reading it because I am putting together the abstract and the application for a research project, which I would be working closely with a professor, hopefully during the summer, on city literature, essentially. There's a sort of truthfulness that exists in this sort of clean and beautiful but gritty and dirty prose that it just has to be explored, I think. And there's so many writers. I'm working right now out of the first class of the Chicago Literary Hall of Fame. So Algren, this is a critical edition of The Man with the Golden Arm by Algren, which won the first National Book Award. Chicago City on the Make, which is it's kind of like a prose poem almost, which is where the title Never a Lovely So Real comes from. Saul Bellow, The Adventures of Augie March. This one really centers on Chicago. It's not as well known of a novel, but Gwendolyn Brooks, of course. I have a Chicago anthology of poems. Lorraine Hansberry, I have A Raisin in the Sun around here somewhere. Richard Wright, Native Son, Black Boy. Not just Chicago, right? So this is also going to heavily focus on Edward P. Jones. And hopefully will let me go to DC and talk to some people and see some of the places he writes about. I did a large presentation on Gwendolyn Brooks and Edward P. Jones and kind of the way that place is integral to their work. And that's kind of the idea with this, is exploring how important place really is in this literature and how it can be used to tell specific truths that I think don't exist outside of the cityscape, the American cityscape. I've got Baldwin's collected essays. I'm going to be working with these as well. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I don't know how much content is going to come out of it. I've talked with my professor about doing like a podcast type thing, and I was like, well, I have this channel, maybe we could do something with that. So there'll be that. I'm of course going to write nonfiction, hopefully a large essay that I will have to present. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself with all this stuff. But if you're interested in Nelson Algren, Saul Bellow, Gwendolyn Brooks, who I haven't made a full video on just her, but I am going to do that because I really, really enjoyed my class on her this past semester. I do read a good amount of poetry in general, but it's something I've been a little afraid to talk about because I don't, study it so in depth. But I think I'm getting over that hump. We shall see. But yeah, Gwendolyn Brooks, if you're interested in Baldwin, I'm going to be reading a couple of his novels as well, If Beale Street Could Talk. But yeah, so those are kind of three big reading projects I have That will take up a lot of my time, of course, if all this works out. I really hope it does, because I'm going to do a lot of work before I don't know. It feels like I need to be a little ahead of the game. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm really hoping that all works out. So yes, Algren, writing in urban literature, video with Dyson, video with Rickey Fayne, who, again, I will link all of his stuff down below. Please check out at least Spare the Rod. 3 of the stories are in the novel. Bad Daddy is a very funny and interesting story that doesn't exactly fit with the style of this novel, but it's pretty cool. So I'd recommend reading that one as well if you get the chance. But Spare the Rod for sure. They're all great. He's a really great writer. There's a section in here called For the Love of Money, I believe, and that is one of the best things I've read. I mean, I really do, as unbiasedly as possible, I love this book. And these are all I mean, it is a lot of pages, double-sided. But I'm going to try to read it again, like I said before the interview, gather all my thoughts. And then in terms of writing plans, I will try and cap this real quick. Writing plans, I'm feeling at a bit of a dead end with actually, that's not true. I have a ton of ideas for the thing that I most recently showed you in my Write a Novel With Me video. I'm just figuring out how to sort all those out, figuring out the direction I want to take it, the style of writing I want to actually use. It should be really interesting to see how that figures itself out. One of the short stories I talked with you guys about, it is now called And I Will Hope She Understands, and it is one I'm heavily revising, hopefully while I'm in New York, actually, and tying together all these different time periods, the stories more, get it more compact and into scenes. I love this story, but it's cool. It's great when I'm reading it and when I know all the context, everything going on, but I just haven't made it clear enough. So hopefully I will get a good, I don't know, I mean, I've had multiple drafts, but I hadn't really flushed the whole thing. So a good second draft, second version, and continue to work on that. I have some other stories that need revising, but I will be in workshops, so we'll see whether I'm revising or writing new ones. I do hope to make a bunch new writing videos. I obviously have been focused on and will be focused on other people's writing a lot of the time, whether it's the research or the interview and things like that. But I do, I need to figure out how to get time for writing in, because it's just so easy to miss out on that. And once you get out of the habit, when you're in the habit of writing daily, it's almost hard not to write, and when you're out of the habit, it's hard to write. So it's just it's a balance. But yeah, I hope you guys will be on the lookout for those 3 things, especially because they will probably be more long-form content, which I really enjoy putting out for you guys, and I'm probably more proud of than the short stuff. But I know I am the same as anybody. I'm much less likely to click on a 50-minute video than a 15-minute one. So I hope it doesn't sound like I'm begging you guys to watch more stuff. I'm really appreciative for everybody who has been watching, continues to watch. We're almost at 4,000 subscribers in whatever it's been, 7 months, which it really was not a thought in my head. I just had this kind of idea that I wanted to talk about books. I really wanted to hold myself accountable for reading over the summer while I was away, because the amount of reading I do now is not at all where I was a full year ago. So it's really helped me as well to stay on track and to get done what I need to get done and find even greater enjoyment, I think, and I hope it's helped you guys too. Again, I'm just so thankful for all of you watching. I hope you all had a great year. I'm really looking forward to this upcoming year. I hope you guys are too. I hope everybody's doing well in general, and thank you so much for watching. More videos very soon. See you in New York.